we go digging for bones that are both sweet and spicy.
We uncover Portugal's pride and joy inside these infamous tarts.
And we say goodbye to bloodthirsty creatures with this superfood.
But first, citrus bonbons built to fall apart. Getting your daily dose of vitamin C has never looked or tasted so good.
Ovation break-apart oranges are a chocolate twist on a fruit bowl classic.
And to Philip Terranova, SweetWorks president, there's no comparison. Oranges are the only fruit.
Well, it tastes fabulous. Orange and chocolate is probably the best flavor combination that you can find.
Well, you know what they say, an orange a day keeps the other fruits at bay.
Move over, Florida, because SweetWorks Niagara candy plant in Buffalo, New York is the main hub for oranges now.
Instead of getting plucked from the branches of an orange tree, these citrus sweets start with chocolate.
And lots of it. Every day, Niagara Chocolates receives over 20,000 kilograms of liquid chocolate.
Kept at 45 degrees Celsius, the chocolate is pumped into a tank where it's tempered.
Tempering is a process that heats and cools the chocolate. This process results in a beautifully shiny piece of chocolate that has a pleasing snap when you break it.
Once tempered, the chocolate heads to a mixer where orange flavoring is added.
The flavor is natural orange flavor, comes from oranges, but it's highly concentrated.
And because the flavoring is so intense, only a few drops are needed to make this batch fruity-licious.
The orange chocolate is pumped to a depositor where it'll be turned into segment slices.
Mold trays that look like deconstructed oranges travel along a conveyor towards the depositor.
The segments are filled 18 at a time. No matter how you slice it, this is the beginning of something beautiful.
The chocolate segments travel into a vibrator where the air bubbles are shaken out.
After their shakedown, filled molds head into a cooling tunnel for 50 minutes where they solidify.
Yellow trays are loaded on top of the molds.
Slices are inverted, give it a hard tap, and the segments fall onto the newly added yellow trays. I mean, we could stop now and eat the slices.
I have to have at least 2 or 3 slices. I have been known to eat quite a few more, as you can tell by how I look.
Let's keep going before Philip eats the whole lot. Time to turn segments into whole oranges.
James has been working here for 18 years.
Please tell me how good that smells.
It smells like orange juice mixed with chocolate.
Now that sounds like one epic breakfast.
James stacks the trays of orange slices and slides them over to an assembly line.
Buckle up, baby, because we're about to get into the fast lane.
Individual slices are pulled from the trays and stacked 10 per side of an assembly fixture.
2 halves of the fixture will be molded together to create a plump, juicy orange.
Katrina has been at this for nearly 10 years, and it sounds like it's good training for a career in Sin City.
If I wasn't doing this job, I could be a blackjack dealer in Vegas with no problem.
The fixtures are folded together to form a chocolatey sphere, then move along to a depositor.
A plug of liquid chocolate is deposited into the center of the assembly fixture. This helps to form the core that holds all the slices together.
Once the plug is set, the whole orange is demolded and sent to be packaged.
Chocolates travel into a foil wrapping machine to get their peel.
And the whole thing is held together with a label that helpfully gives you opening instructions.
Oranges are placed into plastic casings to ensure their safety,
and then are placed into boxes. And sealed.
boxes are placed into cases, palletized, and are ready to be shipped to orange lovers everywhere.
But once you get your orange home, how do you get all those slices out?
Firmly grasp the orange and slam it against a hard surface. You have to be very careful how you do this. You don't want to break the slices. This is very, very important. And everybody has their own technique. My advice is to take the orange at a slight angle. Do not hit the orange directly on the bottom.
Orange, you glad we told you that?
You're killing me. Food you can eat and play with. My favorite.
What would you call a candy that has a pink cinnamon shell wrapped around a delicious chocolate center?
Well, I wouldn't have called them chicken bones, that's for sure.
Yeah, maybe not, but this tubular candy has been a Canadian classic since 1885.
You know, that's nearly as old as Canada itself, so it's fitting they're made by Canada's oldest candy company, Ganong. Fifth-generation candy maker Brianna Ganong takes up the story.
Ganong was started in 1873 by my great-great-grandfather and his brother, and they started as a general store and they moved into chocolate and confectionery.
The 140-year-old tradition carries on here in St. Stephen, New Brunswick.
The first step? Making the candy shell. It's a job that requires the finest candy makers around, and this trio has got the right stuff.
Corn syrup is first pumped directly into a kettle along with glycerin. Ganong has been using the same copper kettles for 140 years, and for good reason. Copper is one of the best heat conductors, so it helps make sure everything gets cooked evenly.
The sugary syrup boils to 160 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes. 9,000 chicken bones are produced every hour. That's 2.5 bones every second.
Once the syrup is piping hot, the kettle swings over and its contents are emptied.
The liquid candy can be finicky, so it's kept on a heated table to keep it warm and malleable. A portion is cut and put aside.
The main piece is kneaded by hand. In fact, chicken bones have been made by hand this way since the very beginning.
The way that it's made is it creates that flavor and that crunch and the bite that is true to the chicken bone. If we were to automate that process, it just wouldn't be the same.
The smaller candy portion gets a shock of bright red coloring folded into it.
And it's added back into the main piece and massaged until it turns a shade of pink.
Chicken bones are known for their cinnamony flavor, so a little spicy extract is drizzled onto the candy.
The candy is moved over to a puller, which will tug the sticky stuff for 3 minutes.
The most important part of the chicken bone process is actually pulling the candy. It introduces air into the candy, which gives us that nice crunchy texture.
As oxygen is incorporated, the candy becomes that recognizable bubblegum pink, and it's ready to meet its chocolate counterpart.
Yes, luscious, bittersweet dark chocolate is melted in a kettle ahead of time.
In go 2 large scoops of powdered sugar to sweeten the deal.
The sugar will also help form a paste, so the chocolate stays put as it's folded into the candy.
A few masterful folds, and you've got yourself one massive, albeit rectangular, chicken bone.
It kind of looks more like a dinosaur bone to me. It's time to move them bones over to a batch roller.
As it rotates, an open flame keeps it toasty, and the candy turns into a giant cone. Without heat, the candy will harden, and the batch could be boned.
Well, how do you know?
I can feel it in my bones.
Oh, nice one. Mike pokes and prods the chicken bone to remove any air bubbles.
It's massaged until the bone forms into a thin rope.
And the end is broken off to make sure every piece of candy includes a little chocolate.
The candy rope is fed by hand to a cutting machine, which quickly shapes and severs 250 bones a minute.
Chicken bones are plenty. Almost 700 million bones have been made since 1885. And that's enough bones to build 3.4 million human skeletons.
Chicken bones continue their travel down a conveyor and into a bin.
The fall breaks apart jointed bones before they cool on a ventilated platform.
Linda inspects each one for density. She's been working here for 40 years, and she's a die-hard bone fan.
The best part of Ganongs is their chicken bones. We make them with love.
Chilled to the bone, these candies are ready to be bagged.
To preserve their fragile selves, Linda hand-packs each bag until they weigh 180 grams.
Bagged bones are heat-sealed shut, packed 12 to a retail box.
Chicken bones not bagged are packed into bulk containers, and both bins and bags are palletized and ready for shipping from coast to coast.
How does Brianna suggest we gnaw the bones?
My favorite way to eat a chicken bone is to crunch right through, to get the chocolate right away, to mix with the cinnamon flavor.
Whether you bite them or lick them, make no bones about it, these retro candies will quickly vanish. A classic Portuguese pastry, pastel de nata, combines creamy egg custard with flaky puff pastry. It's so good, some say it's God's work. The little tart's origin can be traced to 18th century Lisbon, when Catholic monks creatively recycled egg yolks left over from starching clothes with egg whites.
Today, in Toronto's Little Portugal Village, family-run bakery Nova Era has been supplying the city with fresh traditional tarts for over 20 years. Director of Operations Alex Diaz recalls it fondly.
Since I was a young boy, I've been coming to our bakery on a daily basis. I have many memories of seeing the tarts being baked and the smell and the aroma coming out of the oven.
With those memories, it's no surprise Alex is being groomed to take over the business.
It all starts with the cow's milk. To make custard, 30 liters are poured into a kettle and boiled over an open flame. As the milk begins to steam, Torcado measures the dry ingredients.
In goes 3 kilograms of cake flour, followed by cornstarch and salt. While the mixer beats at medium speed, Torcado pours in the hot milk. Don't ever cry over spilt milk.
The mixture forms into a paste that will help produce a thick, creamy filling. Once combined, 18 liters of sugar water are added to help sweeten the batter.
It's not true custard without eggs, and at Nova Era, they put all their eggs in one basket. Mixer. A combination of whole eggs and egg yolks are added to turn this batter into silky smooth yellow custard.
Torcado has been baking tarts for 30 years and has lost count of how many he's made.
Million, maybe. Million tarts.
Well, keep it up, Torcado.
The custard is wheeled over to a hopper where it's scooped up and waits to meet its pastry counterpart.
50 kilograms of flour is first added to the mixer. Then margarine and salt. Water is pumped directly into the mixture as it beats for 20 minutes. One batch will make 3,800 tarts.
And when it comes to these, the secret is in the dough.
The difference between the pastel de nata and other tarts is that the pastel de nata is made with a flake pastry tart shell, where a lot of other tarts use a shortbread.
The mixing's done, so Ricardo divides the dough into equal parts.
In order to achieve flaky dough, you need butter and lots of it.
Ricardo wraps the dough over a thick slab of creamy butter. A little dusting of flour, and it's rolled until just combined. It's a labor of love, so it's a good thing Ricardo's fit for the job.
And easy on the eyes.
Okay, easy. The dough stands by on a baker's trolley until it's transferred to a laminator. Here, it'll go from dough to puff pastry.
The laminator smooths the pastry into thin sheets. It's folded as it moves through the machine to create layers that will puff up when baked.
The sheets are whirled onto a rolling pin and transferred back to the work table.
They're cut into strips and rolled into cylinders and left to rest in the refrigerator overnight.
Out of the cold and onto the production line, where they're formed into pastry shells. A wire cutter slices each cylinder into small nuggets that fit into metal tins. Each one is hand-fed into a dough press that uniformly stamps them into pastry shells.
We sell a lot of pastel de natas. We make them every day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I can't see any more pastel de natas in front of my face because it's just always zooming in and out of our facility.
Hey, don't worry, Alex. We'll gladly take some off your hands.
Torquato is back at it. He deposits a dollop of custard into each shell. And off they go to the oven.
They say baking is a science, and that couldn't be truer for these tarts. They're baked in a carousel oven at 315 degrees Celsius for just 10 minutes. The high heat boils the custard, and as it begins to caramelize, forms a puffed-up layer called a parachute.
Torquato keeps an eye on the tarts and removes them as they turn a brownish color. They're left to cool at room temperature, and you can even see the parachute deflate.
The finished tarts head over to packaging, where they're hand-packed in clear trays, stacked in a shipping rack, and loaded onto a truck, ready to hit bakeries for the morning rush.
And what should you have for breakfast? Because nothing beats starting off your day than with a little sunshine in tart form.
Garlic is as old as the Egyptian pyramids. Known for its pungent smell and strong taste, garlic is ultra healthy, boosting your immune system with vitamins and antioxidants.
And when it's roasted, it goes with onions, pasta, potatoes, salads, the list goes on.
At Christopher Ranch in Gilroy, California, garlic is a family affair. Just ask Ken Christopher, the third-generation manager.
We really are a family-owned and operated company. My dad's the current president. I serve as his right hand when he needs me, and even my grandfather comes in for a few hours every day.
Fresh garlic bulbs arrive straight from their own farm by the 907-kilogram crate.
They first travel onto a grater, a type of roller conveyor where a vacuum suctions excess garlic skin and any debris.
The machine sorts them quickly by size, and medium to large bulbs head down the line for a little grooming.
They travel on a heated conveyor, which helps loosen them up.
Workers manually remove the outer layer one at a time. It happens fast, but the effort is worthwhile, right, Maria?
You gotta work really fast to keep up, but it saves me time when I'm making dinner.
Yeah, no kidding. 120,000 kilograms of garlic are processed here every day.
No need to fear blood-sucking creatures here.
I've never personally seen a vampire in Gilroy, so I imagine the garlic is doing its job.
With their jackets removed, garlic bulbs fall onto a conveyor where they'll get cracking.
The heads are emptied onto a cracker, a machine that separates them into cloves.
A series of rubber belts roll against the garlic to detach each clove from the bulb.
The rollers are placed at certain heights to make sure the different-sized garlic isn't damaged or bruised by the cracking process.
Cloves fall onto a vibrating table to shake off excess casings.
And they continue their travels into a tumbler, where they go round and round to loosen them up some more.
The rolling motion causes smaller cloves to fall through the screens.
Only medium and large cloves go on to be roasted. Small cloves are sent to be used in other garlic products.
Chosen cloves fall into a bin and are sent to a peeler.
The peeler is the ranch's hush-hush secret. We can't see inside, but Ken gives us the scoop.
The cloves of garlic are run through a series of air peelers. What these peelers do is actually fire a stream of air at every single clove, removing the skin, almost kind of like a tornado effect.
Wow, sounds stormy in there. I'd like to keep my skin, thank you.
Naked cloves continue their journey and land in an optical sorter called the Raptor.
It scans each clove of garlic for imperfections or bruising, popping out any subpar cloves like a Mexican jumping bean.
Next, the garlic enters a spiral cooling unit where it'll chill for 5 minutes. The cold prevents freshly peeled cloves from oxidizing and spoiling.
Once garlic cloves are peeled, we find that the shelf life isn't quite where we want it to be. But by applying our cold storage technology, we find we can extend the shelf life up to 9 weeks.
They're loaded into bags for easy travel on the way to a roaster.
Finally, who knew garlic prep was such an involved process?
Hey, when you process 32 million kilograms of garlic each year, it's gonna take some time.
136 kilograms of cloves goes into a mixer.
Olive oil, salt, and pepper follow. The garlic is tumbled for 3 minutes until each clove is sufficiently coated.
Prepped cloves make their way to a customized convection roaster, where hot air roasts the garlic from above and below.
The cloves roast at 230 degrees Celsius for 7 to 10 minutes.
And they emerge a nice golden brown. The smell is intoxicating.
The garlic cools on a conveyor to bring them back down to 13 degrees Celsius. They fall into orange bags and are ready for packaging.
6 to 8 cloves are hand-placed into plastic grooves. A layer of plastic heat seals them shut while a vacuum suctions out air.
They head to a series of cutting wheels, which turns each groove into individual portions of roasted garlic.
Portions are packed 6 or 7 pouches to a retail bag, boxed, and palletized.
Ready to hit store shelves across North America.
With so much garlic around, I wonder how Ken smells at the end of the day.
Garlic is really in my bloodstream. I think I'm immune to any negative side effects. I'm even comfortable eating garlic raw, straight out of the bag.
Brave man. I might need to work my way up to raw garlic.
Whether raw or roasted, garlic is a cook's best friend.